would like to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by the Dolphin Wars.
Good afternoon and welcome to King Dolphin TV. I am Raymond, author of the Dolphin Wars series of books, and I'd like to welcome you all to the best pod in YouTube. I hope everybody is doing well and enjoying the last bit of summer as it starts moving on till fall, and the leaves change, and then we gotta rake all the stupid leaves and all the other stuff. We are honored to have the great Baron Orman Tagge join the pod. He comes along from Just Cause. He's a panel member there, a good friend of the pod, and I wanted to interview him, and he offered to come in. So please give a King Dolphin Television welcome to the Baron. But before we begin, I want to welcome all in the chat. We have the Wrench Team Supreme. We've got the first in, last out. The stalwart to the channel, Legatus Legionai. How are you, my friend? We have John Rendell, also here. He's saying leaf blowers and hurricanes, no worries. And, of course, we have the owner of the Chandelier of Infinite Wisdom. We have... I don't do it as good as Pudgy. Start up a bus! Cuber. I want cookies. Oh, it's cookies already. Okay. And then we have our producer, the Wrench Queen, Queen Dolphin herself, Sandra. Love you, baby. And Snoopy's in the background making noise. Oh, John Rendell says, .com. Snoopy's in the back making his noise on the wooden floor, and we've got in the chatters we have Old Man. Hello, Old Man, and we have Lord Thoth. There should be more coming in. So, if you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you know of any interviewers that want to come on and be interviewed, please let me know. Reach out to me and with their information, and I will get to you. Hello, DJ Odyssey. How are you, my friend? Hope you're doing well. And so we shall get going. As usual, but it's usually broken at the very beginning, thanks to my impatient chat, who don't feel like rules. They don't believe the rules should be followed. Hi, Carla Burton. Wow. Welcome from New Zealand. Hello, my friend Carla Burton. I am glad you're here. Hope you will enjoy the interview. So, as I was saying to those impatient people in the background, I've got a series of questions. It's going to be pretty much a questions, and then we'll get into a chat, and then I open it up to the chat to ask any questions that they wish of you. And believe you me, if you heard any of the questions from previous interviews, they're pretty funny, they're pretty insightful. And without further ado, let us begin. So,
Well, before we start, Carla Burton, I'm a big All Blacks fan, so it's nice to see someone from New Zealand.
All Black?
Yeah, rugby team. That's their national rugby team, the New Zealand All Blacks.
Oh,
And
okay.
the women's team is the Black Ferns.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Mhm.
Cool. All right, so we shall get started. So, Baron, tell us about yourself outside of your channel. What do you do when you're not on the camera?
Well, myself, I'm probably one of the worst pulp culture people out there. That's why I don't call myself a pulp culture crusader, because I don't really watch much telly as it goes. No, there are some stuff that I do like. I mean, I love On Patrol Live. So about the only quote unquote reality show that I watch.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's so many things out there, so I don't really watch TV. I cannot bring myself to watch bad woke television.
Okay.
So I kind of avoid all that. I love reading. I mean, my house is literally a library, and the
I
long
see
sup
that.
for Mrs. Tagge. Yeah, this is nothing. I mean, I got other rooms that have bookshelves and books like you can't believe, which is kind of funny because I was afraid of reading for a while there because I found that I'm slightly dyslexic. So it's a little bit. I had to take time to read, and when I was younger, I was kind of intimidated because I knew people that say, "Oh, I read so fast," blah blah, and I felt like an idiot. But
Mm.
once I started getting over that, I started to become a voracious reader. I mean, I love reading all sorts of stuff from history to science fiction, fantasy, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and going into like the like sagas and stories of the old mythologies, um, theology, various stuff like that. So I kind of dive into all that stuff on there.
Okay.
Um, I used to be part of a historical recreation group called the Viking Age Club and Society that's out here in the Twin Cities area. I don't do that no more. Meaning I should probably jump in and say hi to the guys now and then, but I got so fat I don't fit my Viking outfits no more, and it just hurts to get around with my back and my neck. And
Mm.
we used to do what they call live steel combat, where we would actually go out there and actually fight with real swords, real axes, real spears.
Mm.
The big thing is they weren't sharpened, so we went out there. We knew
That's a good thing.
yeah, exactly, very much. But these things can still do a wallop on you, and it's
Uh-huh.
amazing. We never really had that many injuries. One of the people we had, Lars Walker, he's an author himself. He had one of the most traumatic injuries. He had one of his fingers get broke, so it's kind of hard for him to write for a little while after that.
Yeah.
So, but you go through specific moves and you have certain rules. But other than that, it's kind of a coordinated, uncoordinated fight that we have on there. So. And other than that, I'm kind of a very boring person. I'm kind of a homebody myself. Of course, I enjoy perusing bookstores, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically me in kind of a nutshell with everything.
What was your chosen profession, if I can ask?
Chosen profession? I had many things. I was trained in the radio broadcasting, so for a while I was a DJ. I did some voiceover work. I did some voiceover work for my church before the radio. They weren't able to afford to be on the radio no more. I was a warehouse worker for many years. I loved it, especially my last warehouse job. But unfortunately, my back didn't like it, so I was kind of knocked out of there. And right now, and I'm unfortunately currently right now I'm not really working. I've been, but I was working a phone call center, but I'm not there no more. So I'm just kind of floating, you might say, in the water with the pods.
Okay. Hey, the water's fine and the cookies are great at the kitty table.
Oh yeah, I get sent there many times. I get sent many times.
Okay, and oh, the bot is working. Wow.
Yay!
Yes, subscribe to Baron Orman Tagge's channel. There it is. I am impressed that the bot is working.
This is the only bot that we like too. I mean, all the other bots
Yes,
can go away.
exactly. Um, what made you want to create a YouTube channel? I know there's a lot of YouTube channels out there, a lot
Mhm,
of big and small creators. What made
mhm.
you, in particular, want to put a channel out there?
Well, that's kind of funny. Before I really got into YouTube, and this is like many years ago, my daughters would be YouTube, and I'd always be mocking them because they're watching stuff like PewDiePie and stuff like that, and I made fun of them and didn't really, um, didn't really have much respect for creators on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. I like YouTube for watching nostalgic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Along the way, I found some guy, and he was out there with his inside scoops, and and the guy was, is absolutely clickbait, and I kind of got turned off by that. And I came across this other guy that was wearing a mask with a voice modulator and lightning bolt behind him and a floating Cthulhu. And it's like, oh, this is different. He's entertaining. He's insightful with what he's talking about. That was Lord
Mm-hmm.
Doomcock, and of
Yep.
course, that's where we met with Lord Doomcock on his channel.
Yes.
And oh, there goes the dogs. Oh,
Well,
there
that's
goes the
okay. You
dogs. Well, my
probably can.
apology.
Oh, that's okay. You can probably hear the sound of a cow ear being mauled.
Oh yeah, they love their cow ears. But
Mm-hmm.
my family kept on saying, you know so much about stuff. You should have your own channel. And I fought it, and I fought it, and I fought it. And then I figured, okay, what the heck? I'll put something out there, see what's on there. And I was trying to figure out what did I want to do. I didn't want to be like Doomcock. I didn't want to be like Nerdronic. I didn't want to be like a lot of these other people because, again, like I said, I'm not a pulp culture guy. So I started approaching it from being an old timer. The stuff, growing up with the stuff, what the things were, that the history of our what we love: Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica, the original one, all across the board. And of course, when I was involved with fandom back in the day, back in the 80s and such, and early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And so I figured, that's the best thing to do. And basically say, this is why we're fighting. This is what it's all about. This is why people are upset with the woke and how things have been going with our franchises that we loved so much. So I started doing that along the way. 24/7 Fusion Media sent me a DM, and we started talking. He said, "Okay, got me part of the Primetime Kings, which was an honor. It really is an honor, and hopefully we'll be getting back to doing that." So basically, it was one of those things where I just kind of went along, and then I started getting to know you more, and Sandra, and John, and all these other people out there. And it's just such a wonderful, wonderful family. So, a lot of that now I'm with Mike Casella and Keith over at Pulp Culture Minefield, having fun with those guys over there. And I want to say, I'm on the outside ring of all these people because it's just amazing how intelligent, how smart these people are. I learn a lot of stuff. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, yeah, we all. It's a case of, where do we want to put our niche out there?
Hmm.
Um, and because there's a lot of the pop culture fish in this big old pond,
Oh yeah.
and which is why I chose a different direction. But
Hmm.
I attract a lot of great people.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. You're a good
Uh,
magnet for that.
Thank you. Okay, so how long has he had your channel?
About a year now.
About a year? Ooh,
Yeah.
pretty close to more. When's your anniversary?
Oh, I'm trying trying to figure. Um, sometime this month, or I have to take a look. This time, either early October or late September.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, sometime about that. So
Okay.
I know one of the first things I put on was the pig races at the Carver County State Fair, or the County Fair. I mean, sorry, it wasn't the State Fair. I put that up there for Mexican Iron Man to watch, which he seemed to enjoy.
Huh. All right. So about a year, and you're coming up with an anniversary.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was kind of going, yeah, because it had to have been even before that because one of my videos was, well, when was that? Well, maybe it was in October when my daughter decided to put 53 candles on a cake. So I took that and put it on there.
Oh dear. I won't tell you. You're only 53. God, you're a baby.
I am. I'm young.
Yeah. I'm. I have no problem telling my age. But yeah. So big October. Big October. You ought to think about an anniversary party.
Yeah, about that time. So I have to take a look and
just not on the same day as mine.
No, it's not.
Because you're a guest on mine. You're coming on.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah. I have no choice. He's dragging me on, folks.
Huh? We got the big time festivities. Let's see. Okay. And what is the why and what made you decide on your name?
Well, again, it was part of what did I want to do? Did I want to go out there with my real name, which is a very boring, blah name? Did I want to be completely anonymous, like people out there, obviously, you had him on there, Fat Steven Seagal, who protects his identity, and Vigilante Williams, and even Lord Doomcock. But then I go, no. Again, I don't want to start copying. But I didn't want to use my real name. I wanted to have something that was a little more flashy and catchy. And I was a fan of the old, I still am, by the way, of the old Star Wars comic book series that they had. And one of the villains they had in there was Baron Tagge, or Baron Orman Tagge. And I thought, So I thought, that's one that's not necessarily fully well known, but enough. And it's fun when people see that name, they go, "Oh wow!" You with the old comic book, and when they see the Carmine Infantiano, I got said his name wrong, but his artwork there, they go, "Oh yeah, you're an old Star Wars fan." So I thought, something a little bit that would stand out in stick. And, a lot of people in radio, they have their DJ names. People in industry, they have their industry names. I thought, well, I'll just go with that. Not that I'm ashamed of my own name or who I am. I've been outed many times with my name. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. And you don't have a problem with the name being... You don't get issues from the mouse or is it a variation of the Baron Orman Tagge?
My name?
Yeah.
No. My name is and I'll drop it right now. My name is Eric. No.
The name Baron Orman Tagge, isn't that?
Oh yeah.
That's a net. Do you have a problem? Did you ever run into issues with using Baron Orman?
Oh no. Everything's been very positive on that. Very positive.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a problem at all. So I'm going to keep running with it.
Cool. And it's a cool name.
It's a
cool name and a great picture.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's why I use the full Baron Orman tag. I figure if I go the full way, less chance of, people getting robbed and all that. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, more... I'm going to combine these two questions. The one is, tell us about your channel and what are the subjects you talk about it. So have at it.
Well, I'm going to get back doing it. I usually like to do about 5 minutes little things. When I did start going to it, I started getting inspired by Harlan Ellison's Watching that they used to have on the Sci-Fi Channel. I think it was the Vortex. I can't remember which show it was. It was Sci-Fi Buzz or Sci-Fi Vortex. And he pontificate for about 3, 4, 5 minutes on the subject. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that's the best thing because there's so many people out there with channels and they have stuff that goes 10, 20, an hour long, and not everybody has can go through all that. I mean, if we watched all our videos out there that are these long, we wouldn't be able to do anything. So I
Yeah.
thought, well, I can sit down and start talking about something, whether it's a book or series or something like that, and kind of do like a little compressed thing in about 5 minutes. If you can't get something out and your ideas out within 5 minutes, then you're not doing it right. It's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
quick note thing on there, and you can continue on later on, obviously. Then I decided I'd do Baron After Dark, which I gotta get going here. I gotta start getting my guests again. And I thought that was a great one, kind of like what you're doing, talking with people who are out there, creators and such like that on here. Kind of get talk to them and hit subjects that they don't normally talk about, and they can start seeing the full person that these are not just YouTube blabbermouths, but these are people. These are people out there,
Mm-hmm.
and and get a little bit more of their taste. Get something outside of what they usually talk about with their pulp culture, and and that's fun to do. To have those talks. So those are kind of the things. My favorite thing though is when I can go on other shows because everyone when I've had the guests on my show, they always
Mm-hmm.
feel bad because I took over the show. I was talking. I said, no, that's perfect. That's what I want you to do. You're making the host look good by you talking. That's what we
Mm-hmm.
want.
Yeah.
But when because they're so used to me when I get on to like we're doing right now, or when I'm with the Kings or pop culture, or even with with yours,
Mm-hmm.
I just yammer and talk. So
Which is fine.
it's yeah, exactly, and that's where you have to
That's,
know the line. This is for this is for that, and
mm-hmm.
that's part of the programming. So
Exactly. But yeah, I've got to check. I'm subscribed. It's just the hours kind of get in the way.
yeah.
Um,
I started doing it at that time because that was a time about when I got home from work and all that, and
okay.
because I was working odd hours, and I talked with briefly with Mexican Iron Man, and it's like, should I do a Tuesday or Wednesday? He goes, "Oh, go Wednesday," and then I started saying, "Well, now should I put the show early?" Like, no, 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 keep the show where it's at. So, um, I kind of was going with some of the advice, but
Okay.
yeah, a little bit later night, but of course, my shows are always you can get caught up later on the backside, as I call it.
That's true. That's true. Okay. All right. So great. Talking about let's see. So you go the entire gamut of pop culture when you have your channel.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes around with because when I deal with this primarily science fiction and fantasy,
Hmm.
um, and I hit some, talk about some other stuff now and then. I will talk about mythology or whatever, because this is the stuff that inspires what we're doing today. I mean, one of the things that we're noticing is bad storytelling, horrible storytelling.
Hmm.
All they are is wanting to go out there and preach and tell people how to think, which the original Star Trek wasn't about. It was about, here's something for you to ponder about. This is a
Hmm.
view. Um, Star Wars. This is a story. This is a saga. And
Hmm.
you go back and you start reading the old Greek myths, the Norse myths, the Kalevala from the Finnish. You start seeing how a story, a saga builds up, and why these things are so wonderful. I remember when I was listening to Lord Doomcock one night, he sat back and says, "How is it that the Flash Gordon serials can do better story building and character building than what we have today?" And it's because these people knew what these sagas were. They knew what these myths were, and they knew
Hmm.
they were building their own, and they knew how to do it. And people want to, George Lucas was out there saying about how you don't have to be a disciple of Joseph Campbell. Uh, if you just know what it is, George Lucas didn't start reading Campbell until after Star Wars. That's what
Mhm.
Gary Kurtz said, and of course everyone gravitated. Well, Joseph Campbell now the highbrows can appreciate Star Wars. Before that, it's like, oh, this is just kids silly stuff. But George Lucas knew stuff from when he was growing up with the serials and cowboy stories, his own experiences. He knew how to build a saga. He knew how to build a story. Gene
Mhm.
Roddenberry, Gene Coon, DC Fontana, all those people knew how to build a story and
Mhm.
how to present it out there. And when we don't have that today, and that's pretty much is what I like to talk about, is this is how it is.
Yep.
And not to be ashamed of characters because people are now ashamed of these characters. People are ashamed of Kirk. How can you be ashamed of James T. Kirk?
No, he's an icon.
He is an icon, and he's one of the wisest characters on science fiction because he would sit and listen to the advice of the logical Spock and the emotional McCoy,
McCoy.
and then
And then make his own decision based on that.
right, and sometimes it wasn't the right one. But the thing is, you could see that he was doing counsel, a wise leader, and that's why Kirk is the best, in my
Mhm.
opinion, because of that you see that in there.
Yeah.
Something you don't really see now. Even with Next Generation and the others, you didn't see that triumvirate of those
Yeah,
of the characters.
that's true.
So I hope I answered the question. Didn't go too far off on
No,
that
you're
one.
fine. That's good.
Oh, great.
Um, let's see here. Do you have any subjects that you will actually stay away from, or politely tell people to stay away from when you do your streams?
Well, generally, it's kind of open. I obviously don't necessarily want to get too heavily political on there. Kind of like the old Johnny Carson show. Very influenced by Johnny. Johnny knew that everybody out there, have different views politically and religiously and such like that. There's nothing wrong with talking about religion or talking about something politically, but it's how you do it. Um, so I don't want people coming on and preaching something in that fashion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, use it as an example. I mean, myself, growing up, and I am a very devout Missouri Synod Lutheran, but I don't push that. But you'd think I'm a Roman Catholic when you hear me talk about Tolkien, because I'm hitting all the points about Roman Catholicism that's in his work.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily want people to go out there because the one thing that they have for an illusion about all of us is that we're all these right wing extremists and blah blah. It's like, no, you have people on both sides of the aisle that are part of it. The one thing they want is good storytelling. Even they're tired of the woke BS out
Mm-hmm.
there. And this is what the battle's about. So those are about the one thing I want to try to stay away from because that can be a hotbed issue. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to have fun. I mean, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I sit back and say, "Well, I'm a Democrat." So, okay, that's great. No problem, and all that, and that influenced me. Okay, that's great. That's like Keith at Pop Culture. He's a Democrat. He talks about how that influenced him and why he's that way. Uh, Gary's the other way, so it makes a nice little balance. But the thing is, it's not one of those things where you're pushing it down their throat.
Okay, great. Now this is. Ooh. Okay, I see your library in the back, and you say that you got tons of books elsewhere in the house.
Yeah.
We're the
What you
same.
see?
Go
We're the
ahead.
same. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, these back here are my gaming books, my role playing game books, and
Mm,
I have some reference books over here. I have another one that has role playing game books. I got my Star Wars books, Star Wars reference books, some other books like that, magazines, and that's just in this office.
mm. We've got. Um, th- Let me tell you. I've told this story before, but let me tell you. We have managed to. This is a big house. This you've seen the pictures of the house. This is a big house, and we have between the two of us, we have filled the useful load in the in it, and it's like We have we had to get another bookcase, and we have filled that up as well. I mean, one, you can never get too many books.
Hmm.
You can never get enough books, and
No.
you try to keep them as long as you can, but then you're stuck with you've got books everywhere.
Mm. Oh, exactly. And no, it was kind of inspired by a guy that I worked with. He sat back and said he collected all these books so he'd have books available for people to, if they needed to have for reference. Of course, this was before the internet
Mhm.
and such. And it would frustrate me. My daughters would have to do a, a report or something like that, and they're running around. They don't even talk to me about it. And go to the library. It's like, why are you doing that? Right here. This is everything to do with that subject. What do you need to know? you know, it's like, oh, you mutton
Oh,
heads. I love them, but they're mutton heads. Yeah.
oh, the worst thing that happened to me was I left. I had to move for my job, so I left my house, and
Mhm.
then Sandra was staying there for a while, and then she moved down with me. We left a lot of things still in the house, and then the house got broken into, and they took
Mm.
the piping, which means we had to sell the house. Well, we came down and we found the house had a lockbox on it. Had no clue who did it, and inside there, among the stuff that was still there, was an Encyclopedia Britannica.
Ooh.
Oh, I was pissed at myself. I said I should have found a way to move it down.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah. I mean, you need to keep those because with them wanting to change history for political
mm,
correctness and
yeah,
wokeness, when you and changing meaning of words, you need to have that hard copy. You can't
mhm.
trust anything that's electronic because they can change it.
Oh yeah,
As 24/7 and we promote heavily. I believe Fat Steven also is get the stuff, get your things physical, movies, get them on DVD, Blu-ray, even VHS because there's stuff that hasn't been transferred over. Get the book, get the physical book because those will never be able to be changed by these censor monsters out there. Um,
exactly.
and which is one of the reasons why I have so many books. And that was before. That was before, obviously, the internet and all this stuff. So,
Yeah, but like I said, I just updated. Got a brand new bookcase, and it's already within a little bit. But that was moving stuff from another bookcase that fell apart, so that really doesn't count.
mhm.
Bookcases do not have long shelf life, so to speak.
No, I mean the one I have behind me was kind of the top shelf kind of broke down, so I had to
Mm,
do a little rearranging. But I have this cheap thing that I found on the street that
mhm.
had the sign on it, and it's the most sturdy thing there is. It's not the prettiest, but it's my favorite because I could put Snortopoopas on there, and it wouldn't move. I mean, honestly,
Do you hear that
there's no
snore?
yeah, there's no bowing on the shelves at all. Everything's nice and solid. Uh, I'm just happy with it.
Great. Uh, Actually, I think my next one. I think Sandra will throw something at me. I think I'm going to go back to the old cinder block and wooden cinder blocks and wooden shelf bookcase.
hmm Yeah,
So,
sometimes that's the best way to do it too. I mean,
yeah.
it's not pretty, but it works.
Mhm.
Not on my hardwood floors, you're not.
I heard that. Kind of sounds like my house.
Yeah. All right. And on the subject of books,
Mhm.
pick your top three authors.
Oh, this is incredibly hard
Mm,
because we're talking about so many different uh, genres that
mhm,
I have.
Yeah.
I mean, Alexander Dumas. One of my favorite books of all time is The Count of Monte Cristo.
Hmm.
I read that in high school, and I fell in love with that story. So we have Alexander Dumas, Jesse Byack, who is a translator who did. So I don't know if you could put him down as an author per se, but he did many excellent translation of Old Norse uh, uh, mythologies and stories and sagas that they had on there. Obviously, J.R.R. Tolkien, because he's just a masterful man with
Hmm.
mythology. I mean, if I had to continue on, it'd be
That's why I
Robert
said.
Graves.
That's why I said. That's why I
Yeah,
limited it because
yeah.
can't be on all night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could say Frank Herbert, Robert Graves. I mean, I go on and on and on. Harlan Ellison.
Do you have you heard of W.E.B. Griffith? W.
Yeah, I have heard of him.
Military. I don't know if military fiction is your genre.
No, I'm not really into military fiction myself. I do. I think I got a first edition though of Hunt for Red October on my shelf. I got from a library sale. Um, but when it comes around the military, I mean, even science fiction. My former wife loved the science fiction pot boilers. The where they're out there and it's all military. Um, but for when it comes around the straight military, I have to sit back and say, no, I'm not. It's not my cup of tea unless it's historical. Reading about history. Something like Iron Men with Wooden Wings, where they're talking about the First World War
Oh, okay.
and history on that one and various stuff.
All right. Uh, great. Um, well read, well spoken. I'm having a great time here. All right,
Excellent.
now tis time to welcome more people in the chat, and we will open it up to said chat for questions. Let's welcome Len Rod, one of our wrenches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see.
Great guy.
Yep, great guy. We had Carla Burton. We have the old man. We got Matt G.
Mm-hmm.
Deep Odyssey. Andy Masterson's here.
The
Pierre
great Andy
Kelly,
Masterson.
the great Andy Masterson. Pierre Kelly. We got Lord Thoth. We got Basil, the Pumpin' Seagull.
Love that guy.
Yep, great guy. We have Brandon, the anime guy. We have low spec Linux laptop. And last but not least, we have the long suffering Mrs. Ted. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Glad you are here. I'm sure you're going to give us the other stories about the Great Baron.
Oh yeah, she's been dumping things I see already in the chat.
Yeah.
The secret life of, and of course, I want to plug Brandon. He has a great channel with his anime.
Okay.
He's
If
a
you
great
want,
guy.
put his link on in the private chat, and we'll put it on.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
Legatus already beats
Yeah.
us to it.
Well, yeah, he's a good wrench. He's
Yes,
he's
Legatus
fast.
will take care of it. All right, let's look for questions for the Great Baron Orman Tagge.
Yeah, I saw some interesting ones in there already.
Yes.
Wasn't fixating
Okay.
on them, but I just saw that there was some that was in there. I mean,
Okay, I think I had this one maybe a little earlier. No, man, he started early. Look at this.
Yeah.
You start early, I lose it. Okay, there it goes. Let's see. Start early, I lose the question.
I know we had about like 3 big ones.
Yeah, like real quick. All right.
I think I see the first one there.
About 6:15.
10. Yeah, about 6:10 my time. 5:10 my time. 6:10 yours. You had
Okay.
one there.
Yes, you are from Minnesota.
Oh
you
yeah,
like
there
Garrison?
goes.
Do you like Garrison Keillor?
You know something? I am going to disappoint everybody. I am not a Garrison Keillor fan, and it has nothing to do with his talent. A little dirty story about it. Back in the day, in the late '80s, he was going along. Of course, Prairie Home is very popular, and he's very talented.
Yeah.
Got the big deal with Disney, so they'd air it on Disney Channel, and uh, then he said that he wanted to have all this restoration done to a theater, or he'd leave. Well, they did all the work on the theater, and no more than the paint is dry, he runs off to New York to try to become bigger than he is. Because a big fish, small pond here, he became a small fish in a big pond.
Hmm.
Didn't succeed on it. Came back to Minnesota, and everybody had welcome arms for him. And it's like my grandfather and I are kind of going, "Don't you know what he did to you guys?" But I mean, when it comes around to talent, yeah, he's a very talented individual. I'm not going to take anything from that, but it's just that part that has a nasty taste in my mouth.
That, yeah,
It's
that,
like,
that, yeah. All right, here we go. How does that combat compare to those by the Society of Creative Anachronism? They do
mhm.
medieval themes. It's
They
going back
think
to the
we're
combat you were telling us earlier.
about the combat, yeah, and that's the thing. They think we're insane. But again, we learn to pull our blows with that. Their combat, they have those rattan swords and all that out there, and we'd sit around and they'd be out there doing their combat, and they'd be literally whacking each other hard, and they'd
Mhm.
be coming off the field and hey, oh, look at all these bruises I have. So as it goes, I think ours was a lot more safer because we learned how to pull the blows. We learned because we didn't want to have bruises. We had to go to work the next day, type of
Mhm.
thing. And myself, I don't like pain. I mean, I hate pain.
Yeah, pain is no
So
fun.
right. So I mean, there's some with the creative anachronism that do a great job. There's a
Mhm.
lot that do a great job, and there's a lot out there that to be kind of they're putzes. We run across both of them. But like I said, they think we're crazy because we're using live steel. That we're
Mhm.
out there. But I think that in itself made us more aware of our situation and of course who we're battling against. So
Okay. All right.
plus, I think they have. Some of their rules is a little bit different. I'm not fully familiar with how they have for the rules when they get hit and when they're supposed to die. There's a little bit different. I mean, obviously, with us, with certain hits, like if you got hit in the arm, it's like okay, it's still usable. You're still battle, but you can't use that arm, and then you got a good belly shot or whatever, you're down.
Okay. All right. D Jada C wants to unsubscribe so he can subscribe again. Snorter Poopers gives a little bit of a further explanation. He says the SCA doesn't use meta weapons; it's all rattan.
Yep, exactly.
And any resemblance between the SCA and the real Middle Ages is purely accidental.
Yeah, it's more of a fanciful type group. I mean, a lot of them are running the Renaissance fairs out there, so
Mm,
which are fun. They're great. One of the big differences is obviously the time era. A
mhm,
lot of the SCA is kind of dealing with sometimes around the medieval Renaissance type era, the later Middle Ages. There
mhm,
are some Viking. There are some Viking SCA, but we were primarily dealing with around 780 to 1100 AD
mm.
for ours. So we were dealing with that early part, like they call it Dark Age, which is BS.
Okay.
But the early Middle Ages with the Norse, the Anglo
Yeah.
Saxons, and the various others.
Okay. Carlos Barton says, "I'd love to see a polar bear in an all black shirt."
Me too. In fact, if you're out there,
Okay. Let's see. Ah, here's Legatus again. You mentioned about about the origins of several sci-fi shows. Do you also do other genres or just sci-fi? And that
well,
ties
my
into what we were talking about.
right. I mean, I generally talk primarily fantasy, science fiction myself with it. And like I said, I'll bring certain things in. Like I know I talked not too long ago about a book called The Longships, also known as Rhoda Orm in Swedish. It was basically Sweden's version of Lord of the Rings. Excellent book about Vikings, and it reads just like Lord of the Rings, and it was promoting it. And it's historical fiction.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I will touch other stuff, but primarily a lot of stuff with pulp culture that I've dealt with has been in the science fiction fantasy realm, even though there's, far greater realms out there. There's like music, There's obviously the various sitcoms and such of the old days and dramas, which is why I just love these where I can sit down and watch 70 shows and 80 shows because it's like, boy, this is a lot better. I mean,
Mhm. Yeah,
especially when you sit down and watch some. Hmm?
those were the days.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially when you sit down and watch Mission Impossible, and it's a show that you have to watch.
Oh, I
You
did.
just can't. Yeah, but the thing is, you had to watch it. You couldn't do one of these things where you're kind of half watching it because every second of that show was the progression. If you missed one of those progressions, it's like, what happened? So it made you focus on the show, and that was what's so great about Mission Impossible. And
Oh,
plus, Peter Graves. No, he's from Minnesota, so I mean, we have to like it.
yeah, surely. Let's see. I see you have. Okay, now he comes up. Yeah. I see you have a section fade in with. Okay, fade in with like. Did you get? Did you get your inspiration for that, like mine, that of KK, Lucasfilm, Star Wars infamy?
Exactly. I started doing that because I just wanted to be, in some ways, okay, I'll admit it, slightly mocking her and having fun, and having fun with this because that was one of the most ridiculous things. Fade
There
in.
was.
Uh, so it's like I wanted to play with it. I mean, I don't use it as all that much. I should probably, maybe I should. I don't know. But uh, it was a dig in many ways to Kathleen Kennedy. Again, the disrespect I have for what they do
Mhm.
on that, and how she shows exactly how limited she is in her mind on how to do things. To give an example, when I don't know why they had her go up there with George Lucas, but they were honoring producers, so they had George Lucas and her come up there. And George Lucas was talking about he wanted to do something that no one else could, what you couldn't do, which is like that's inspiring. It's like he went out there, he took the story, he made it big, it blew up. And Kathleen Kennedy goes up there and just starts talking diversity, this and that, and all the rainbow, happy unicorn stuff. And it's like that's the big difference between the two. Lucas was all about the story,
Mhm.
and so that's where that kind of continuing that dig because I hope I hope she's embarrassed by it. I know she was mocked like you can't believe about it.
Viciously, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. A statement from the long suffering Mrs. Tagge. Baron can pontificate.
I
Hey,
guess I can.
pontificating is not bad. Let's see. And she says, it's been a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time since you've been you visited King Dolphin TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Back down. Let's see. Questions. Guys, keep putting questions in.
I can just start talking about stuff too.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, as it goes, like we're talking about and hitting some of the things is. Oh, I see one at 5:33
Okay.
or 6:33 your time.
6:33. Okay.
I think it's more of a question than my long suffering, but
There is a book in every room in our home.
mhm.
Uh, close here. On our first floor, there's a book in just about every room.
Mhm.
We even have books in boxes in our sunroom. The only room that doesn't have books is the kitchen.
Yeah, well, I have cookbooks in there.
What, huh?
I have cookbooks in there.
Yeah. Well, she takes them into the kitchen. Okay. Let's see.
I know that Legatus was.
Legatus asked the long suffering, how many of those books are his and how many are yours? Do you share, read the same books?
Majority of them are mine, and generally not. No, she has her likes and tastes in reading stories. Uh,
Okay.
she likes a lot of stuff about the royalty, the British royalty. So
No,
needless
okay.
to say, the situation that happened over in England has definitely got her attention.
Oh, I imagine
Um,
she's watching. I imagine she's watching. I watched a little bit of the procession today,
mhm, mhm.
and
Yeah, I mean this is history, Gene. I mean, all our lives
she was
we've
she was
owned
the
her.
queen.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah,
And
this
now
is
it's
yeah.
trying to get used to saying King Charles III, and I don't think that's the best name for him to continue with. He should have changed it because the first two Charleses didn't exactly do the best job
That's
there.
what I that's what I read, and
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
I remember like 10 or so years ago, someone did write an article about that. That if Charles does take the throne, he shouldn't take the name Charles. He should do something else because of the history involved with the name. But I mean, if Charles starts hearing rumors of a new model army, he should get scared. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that yeah, it's going to be interesting again, and it's irritating me about some of the other stuff I'm seeing, the woke things that are coming, disparaging the
Oh,
Queen or the British Empire.
hmm
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, everyone fixates on one thing, and that and you bring that up. I mean, they shouldn't be ashamed of their history. Every society out there has its good and it has its bad moments. It
exactly.
really does. If you want to fixate on the bad, is just as bad as going out there only fixing on the good. History is basically your laundry, whether it's dirty or not, that's out there. And a
Exactly.
true historian, that's what they do. And the one thing that bothers me is when you have the people going out there saying history is only written by the victors. I'm going to keep my language clean because you never know what Pudgy's watching, and I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
true. We
his
don't want to do the
uh,
censor
yeah,
blanket.
censor blanket, right? But
Right.
that's a bunch of hoo ha
Right.
because if that, yeah, it's like if you believe that, you are either lazy and a fool, or you're a liar, or both.
Yeah. History
Uh,
involves his. You got to be a critical thinker
mhm,
to be a historian.
right. The big thing is the only agenda you should have about history is getting the story right.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
not to build up one or tear down the other. It's
Yeah.
about okay, this era is bad. Not all colonialism is bad. Yeah, there's colonialism that was bad, but not all colonialism is bad. For crying out loud, we were a colony.
That's
Now
true.
we're a nation. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
as it goes, is you know things change in history, and we have to know that not everything is static.
Right.
Empires rise, empire fall. In 70 years, the Soviet Union was out there. And then all of a sudden, in almost a flash of an eye, no longer existed. It broke up into the Commonwealth of Independent States.
Mm-hmm. That's
Germany
right.
was reunified, but
Right.
you don't have the Holy Roman Empire no more. You don't have the Ottoman Empire no more.
Mm-hmm.
So one day, I hate to say this, our nation will not remain. It'll be something else is going to come up and rise out of it. What it is, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and we have
Nothing.
to be aware of that. And
Yeah.
the United States has done great things. The United States have screwed up a lot of times too. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing is no one should be ashamed of their heritage. They should not be ashamed of where they came from. Uh, they should not be bogged down. That's the one thing that the woke is doing with us with our stories and such.
Exactly.
They're attacking us and telling us how bad we are for this, and then they wanting to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
And no, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's like a character's white, so what? Don't
Yeah.
change the character's gender and ethnicity. Be creative and build your own. That's how you got Black Panther.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how you got many of the other Cyborg, all these other characters he had out there.
Exactly.
Wonder Woman, and that was all the way back in like the 40s. That
Yep.
we started seeing Wonder Woman. So I mean, if you're smart and you're intelligent, you can make these heroes. When they sit back and say we're a bunch of
Tell good
misogynistic,
stories.
yeah. Then they say that we're misogynistic whatevers and we don't like strong women. It's like Ripley from Aliens, like Princess Leia from Star Wars. Uh, the list goes on. Even with the B films, Cynthia Rothrock with her kung fu movies that she was doing. I mean, we reveled in Wonder Woman. All these we had these strong ones, and for us to be told that we never had them until now.
Yeah.
When you have on STD, where they're sitting back, we had the first black captain.
No.
Excuse me, Star Trek 4, Geordi's mother.
Yeah.
If you want to go into the animated series, Uhura sat in the center chair of the Enterprise
Yeah.
in the animated series. It's like, don't BS us. Don't lie to us. And that's why I like to bring out the and push what we had for stories in the past. It's like, no, we loved everything. We loved Boomer and Battlestar Galactica and Colonel Ty.
Mm-hmm.
They're black. I'm being told that we weren't supposed to like them. There were no blacks that were prominent. Well, Colonel Ty was the second in command of the Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Lando Calrissian. I mean, the role wasn't meant to be. These roles were not made. Were neutral. These were, and the best people got the job.
Exactly.
Can you imagine Lando not being Billy D. Williams?
No.
And so, when you have these lies where they sit back and say we're ists and fools, and this is the one thing, and they hate that. They don't like being reminded about these things because it ruins their illusion. And the only thing they do have to fall back on is the ists and the phobes. When they start doing that, you won the argument. I smile when I get called that.
Exactly. Sandra said, let's see. Lenron has a full set of old encyclopedias. Picked them up for nothing at a yard sale ages ago. Good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Good for you. Sandra says, we do for the most part. We both like sci-fi, but that's where it ends. Legatus asks, is your home known as the second great library of Alexandria?
I think that went to Harlan Ellison when he was alive. But maybe what would you call it? Little sub library off of that.
I'll tell
Not
you,
as great as
the goddesses bookshelves are pretty impressive as well.
Oh, excellent. That's one of the things I do when I go meet people and visit their house. Usually my eye goes to if they have a library, and I kind of take in what books they have on there. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, yeah. And, because in some ways it kind of gives you an idea, a little bit more of the person by what they're reading and such. And, I just, that's what I gravitate to. I just love seeing what's out there, what people have. Like I said before, Lars Walker, he has all these works, like letters and such of C.S. Lewis. It's like, my word, he wrote letters.
Yeah. The Long Suffering says you have a 6-inch thick dictionary from I'm thinking that's 1900s.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know how old that thing is. I have to go downstairs, but yeah, that's one of those backbreakers.
Okay. Snowder Pooper says I weigh 1,500 pounds. Well, I'm sure it's still pretty sturdy. Okay. You're actually asking that, Legatus? Approximately how many books are in her library? Most paperback. I know gaming are usually hardcovers or limp bags.
Yeah, I mean soft covers. So I mean, I got a lot of those. I do like, if I can get hardcovers, I love getting hardcovers. They're a lot more sturdy, but there's a lot of paperbacks because that's how some of the books came out. That's the only way it comes. So there's a lot. I mean, I got just about every Target Doctor Who book that came out in the 70s and 80s. Just collected them all up and read them because there were so many Doctor Who stories that were missing. It's the only way you could really experience them. Of course, Battlestar Galactica, they had a book series that came out there, and grabbed those. Some of them were dealing with scripts that they were going to do, but didn't do because the show was canceled. Mm-hmm. So all those are, and then Gene Shepard, In God We Trust, all this pay cash, and Wanda Hickey's Night of something memories. I can't remember, but Gene Shepard was a great humorist. Of course, anybody who doesn't know that's where the Christmas story comes from with Ralphie.
Oh, okay.
hmm So and
So what
so
gaming I what role what games do you like playing since you say you got a lot of D&D mainly?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I got the D&D. I mean, I got even some of the new stuff, the new edition, the fifth edition. I like the 3.5 D20
Mm.
system they had. I played all the way back with the first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, so I still have
Hmm.
all my books. If I get it, it's hard for me to go because let them go because there's still a lot of wealth of knowledge in there. I like playing the Star Wars role playing game. Fantasy Flight Games has the latest iteration out.
Mhm.
Edge of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, and Force and Destiny. And then off of that, they have their various little books that you can do. But I also have the other, the D6 system from West End Games and WotC's D20 system of Star Wars. I like those. I played the old Doctor Who game back in the FASA days and Star Trek, the role playing game as well that were in FASA. Those were a wealth of information that we built so much lore of Star Wars or Star Trek off of that before Gene Roddenberry said, nah, no, it's no longer. So
Yeah.
those are a lot of them right there. GURPS role playing, which stands for Generic Universal Role Playing System. Always fun because it's open in the source books they have. You can do whatever you want. You can do science fiction, fantasy, historical. They have historical books for
Mhm.
Viking era. They have Middle Ages. They have Greece and Rome. If you want to play in that, or you want to do Illuminante and get into the mystery and the crux, the stuff there. Uh, so that's just been a wonderful system. So those are primarily a lot of the game systems that I played
Did
in
you
my
ever get into like the Marvel or DC role playing games back in?
No, I never did. No, the group that I was always centered around with, we never did. The closest I did to doing role playing was with the GURP system. We did like one session with that, and that was about it. We all got what they saw TPK, Total Party Kill.
Okay.
Then we went on to something else. But no, I never did any of the Marvel and our DC games out there. In some ways, I kind of regret not getting those systems just for the fun of it. But I do have the Judge Dredd role playing game in D20, but I haven't played it yet.
Oh, okay. Brandon Deanna, my guy, asks you if you're ready for winter. Who is? Except you guys. You
Yeah,
guys
I
are.
got. Yeah, I got my hibernation weight up
Well,
there.
having
So
been a former resident of Minnesota, no
mhm.
one is ever ready for winter.
Yeah, and you were even the colder spot than we are
Yeah,
when you were here.
Duluth. Duluth.
Oh yeah, you get those lake effects in there. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
San Francisco with snow.
yep, exactly. Can you imagine going down those streets when they're all icy?
Oh, I avoided that. I stayed up on top the entire
Mm,
winter.
yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
And the long suffering says the Baron loves trains.
I do. I mean, there was a rich train history in Minnesota, with especially up north with the taconite. So there was a lot of trains on there. We had what they call the Malay 227, which is was it 4884. So it's like the big boy engines out there. It's a huge engine. They
Mm,
actually got three of them around the area of those of that train that they're using to pull the
mm,
taconite down for the ships.
mm.
Of course, William Crookes, which was the first train that came to Minnesota, and they have a great train museum up in Duluth. With so many different variety of trains throughout the eras and the cars and such, I'd love to go out to the one in Green Bay. I hear that one's absolutely fantastic.
Mm.
And then my daughter got into trains when she was a little kid. She got into trains because of Thomas. So we'd
Mhm.
go around and visit trains, see trains. We even went down to Iowa to see Thomas, and she rode on Thomas. And I mean, it was all that. It was all fun and such like that. But there's something about when you see those trains, just like you see the ships. It's just the big power. Going from one place to another, it's that what's over the hill type of thing.
Okay. Uh, let's see. And the long suffering says we're never ready. No,
hmm
no, 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 no. Legata says Not all males, boys at heart. Wait, the law are not all males, boys at heart, and the love of trains never stop. Choo choo.
Yeah, I got a couple of two really big tomes of trains, and the long suffering her father who passed away unfortunately a while back, but great guy. Um, he came by and she told me that he looked at my library, saw the train book, pulled it out, and was looking at it. So I think trains. I think there's something about trains. Tolkien was kind of frustrated with his kids because Tolkien was more of a nature person. He didn't necessarily like the mechanical. I wouldn't say he was a luddite, but and his kids so loved trains, so he couldn't wrap his head around that.
For those interested, please subscribe to the Brandon the Anime Guy.
He goes,
Jeez.
yeah.
Baby
Well,
Ray.
yeah. Well, when I where the city I grew up, the suburb I grew up with, we're right next to the airport, so it's like, oh yeah, there goes the planes. I was so used to it.
Woo. And my microphone really amplifies it.
Wee doggies. Yeah, when we hear something, when I hear something, it's sometimes one of the old warbirds. I was out in the yard doing work, and I just heard this loud noise. Like, okay, that's not a familiar turboprop. Looked up, and it's a B-17 flying overhead. You know, or you start seeing some of the other little fighters, that they have because there's a airport not too far from me where they have like an air show, and I think they even got a museum there now again. So it's nice.
Have
I don't
you
know
ever
why.
been to Oshkosh?
No, I have never been. I've never been there. I worked in the airlines for a while, and of course, that was something. The EAA. Everyone was talking. They wanted to go out to EAA and all that. They go, I don't know if I want to go there. It just sounds like it's just too much with people and such. But
Yeah. I'd like to
a
go
while,
once.
yeah, maybe once. Yeah, just say that you experienced it. We did have one that came through when my daughter was really young. It was they were having all these old vintage planes following the route of the old Ford airplane route around the United States that they did
Yeah.
back in the 20s. And so we went out to do that, and no, Caitlin was. They let Caitlin in one of the planes that was the only one in existence now, and
Mm-hmm.
such. So that was just a fun thing. So we get a lot of stuff like that here, but I kind of get. I mean, I was even involved in the air show myself, so it's it's kind of funny. We they got because it was a show that was honoring veterans, the type of air show,
Mm-hmm.
and they got a B-17 out of North Dakota to come and do a flyby. So what the pilot did was he was down and dirty. He was
Mm-hmm.
down low, bomb bay doors open, flies right over it. The people that were living around the airport were giving calls in, going about the plane. He got back. He got reprimanded for it, but it was a fantastic sight. I mean, if no one's seen a B-52 going down and dirty over you with those bomb bay doors open and being thankful you're not being the one getting bombed on, it's it's a sight. It's a sight, and of course we had the Harriers and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Brandon asks if you were to turn on your Blu-ray player, what is the last movie TV series on in it?
Babylon 5.
That one fun.
Yep. We're going through the Babylon 5 series, Mrs.
Okay.
and I. We
Cool.
need to pick it up. So that's the last thing I actually have in my DB Blu-ray DVD player right now.
Okay. And I noticed you're holding a book there. Were you going to show us that?
Yeah, I don't know. The missus brought this in. The dangerous book for boys. It's actually a really great. Well, it's just about being telling you about like all sorts of stuff like pirate flags and what it's like to be a pirate and how to do knots. It's kind of like take the Boy Scout and just add a lot of like baseball's most valuable players. They have a whole list of that.
Wow.
Up to I don't know what date they have in here. Up to what's the date? 2006, which is the book about when it came out. And what I should have had when you had your one show, the Morse code.
Yeah. Yeah, the semaphore.
Actually,
Or the
yeah, and then we got the
light
semaphore, we got the Morse code in here,
Oh,
how to
okay.
juggle, which I still can't do. They talk about little insects and stuff, so I don't know why she brought this book in here for me to talk about, but it's a potpourri. It has all sorts of fascinating things in there. They call it the dangerous book for boys because
Interesting.
it's like, how to build a treehouse, stuff like that. Be out, instead of in front of a bloody computer or your phone and
That's
all
true.
that.
That's true.
Like when we were kids. I mean, you took off in the day, you came back when the lights were coming on the lampposts,
Exactly.
And you want to know where everybody was, that's where all the bikes were.
Yeah.
And if they wanted you,
Go ahead.
and if they wanted you, they'd go outside and start yelling your name. Hey!
I actually knew somebody that used whistles, and I found that annoying. I wanted to go over there and shove the whistle down their mom's throat.
Oh God! Oh, that's
Lenrod asks, "Do you trim your beard, or are you planning on going ZZ Top with it?"
I'm sorry. The long suffering just came in. She goes, the people in the chat wanted her to grab a random book, so she grabbed this one. That's it.
Okay, now we know the story.
Now I know the reason why. Yep. Mm-hmm. So sorry about that, folks. But I don't know. I'm thinking about letting. I mean, obviously trim it so it's like even, but yeah, I'm probably gonna let it go. I mean, I was in, when I do Viking, of course, I let stuff grow out and such. My hair is actually long. I haven't had a haircut in a year, actually. Believe it or not. But I
wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. My hair doesn't grow straight; it grows out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I can't do anything with it except cut it.
Or look like Bob Ross.
Or look like Bob Ross. Oh yes. Happy little happy little dolphin jumping out of the water and killing somebody.
Yep, there we go. But as it goes, yeah, I mean, I'll probably trim. When I was in the food industry, we had to keep things short and stuff like that. And it's like it started to get a little bit of a length. They come over and go, you gotta kind of trim that down there and all that. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. But no, now I don't have to worry about that. So, and I hate shaving. I just hate shaving. That's why I grow a beard. I just didn't want to shave.
Yeah.
Plus, I have a baby face. I had a baby face. Yeah, like about 10 years ago or so, I shaved everything off, and the wife came home, looked at me, and started laughing and laughing and laughing. And then she sat back and said, "Don't you ever do that."
Okay. Hello, Pacific 414. Thanks for coming on
Mike.
in.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Okay. Let's see.
Maybe I'll bother him later on. Well, now if ZZ Top's down one person, maybe they can take over, except they have no musical skills at all.
Basil says the Seagull has to keep purchasing new monitors every time he subscribes to a channel. The sub button is punched so hard the glass cracks under the stress.
Well, those seagulls, I tell you.
Yeah, those seagulls. They can be brutal.
Oh, I know, especially. Well, I mean, up in Duluth, they'll steal stuff right out of your hand.
Yes.
Down by the canal. I mean, I right now, actually, I got the canal on my other monitor here. I just like having it up and see the ships come in and out. But really choppy water. But they have all these signs: "Don't feed the seagulls." And they put down there and said because because of their diet, and they also turn mean. And literally, that's what the signs are saying. They'll turn mean because they expect the food then, and they'll mug people with their feathery little wings and their little beaks. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, seagulls are not fun. We flew. What was it? We flew Saturday, and there were a bunch of crows. They were behind us, but there were a bunch of crows on the approach end of the runway, and I'm like, "Ooh!" Well, we reported it, but they said, stay away from the plane, stay away from the runway until we get rid of these birds.
Mm-hmm. I think that Minneapolis St. Paul Airport. I mean, you'll see foxes out there. They like them because they'll get keep the birds away out there. So when I was working for the airlines, driving out there along on the tarmac and on the appropriate roads you're supposed to be on, and all of a sudden you see this little box running there. It's like, okay, you find the birdie, have fun.
Yeah. Snort says MI was a great show. Dislikes the cruise version.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really saw that, and from what I heard, what they did with Phelps in that movie, which is one of the reasons why Peter Graves didn't take the part. No,
Yeah,
you can't do
I
that.
did not like. Yeah, no. I didn't like that at all. Legata says, "Get Smart," Mission Impossible, The Avengers, all great TV spice shows. Yep.
Yeah, and see, that's the one thing when we do talk on the Kings. I mean, we have show prep, and it goes down the drain almost instantaneous. And we've talked about all sorts of stuff on there. We talked about, of course, Get Smart, what a great show that was. Started talking about things like Sanford and Son and
Mhm.
the various other stuff. Then we're hitting each other. It's like, oh, do you remember this show and all that? And so when we're going for the pop culture, it's like it's not necessarily the comic books or the sci-fi. We're starting to remember the various stuff, and it's like checking to make sure our facts are right on certain things and on how things are. And it's like it's amazing how much knowledge these other guys have that I work with out there, especially 24. And it's just like you could pull out and say something about a very obscure show. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that one, and we're going back and forth. How many episodes did it last and stuff like that because it was a
Mhm.
short run show. I mean, I'll throw one out there. Do you remember a show called Quark?
Oh yeah, I didn't watch it much, but yeah, I know of the show.
Yeah, Richard Benjamin, Tim Thomerson. Yeah,
Yep.
it lasted about seven episodes, and it was Buck Henry was
Mhm.
involved with that show, and it's amazing. You start
Along
hearing
with
these same.
Get Smart.
Yep, Buck Henry and Mel Brooks with that
Yep.
one, and you start seeing the circles of all this. When things were rotten, when Mel Brooks was doing the uh, the Robin Hood series with Dick Gaultier back in the '70s as well, who also played Jaime and Get Smart.
Mhm.
Um, uh, so when you start seeing this, and that's the one thing that's finding fascinating is connections. I don't know if you were familiar with James Burke, but he had a show called Connections where this thing inspired this thing that inspired this thing that inspired this thing, and it'd be one of the most ridiculous things. Is like, how did this inspire that? He'd go through the whole history of it. And you start finding that with entertainment, it's like, well, this person worked with that person, and this person,
Mm.
and these people working together. It's like, really, those two are together? And start finding out,
Sounds like
Marty Feldman. So
the six degrees of Kevin Bacon.
yeah, exactly. I
All
mean, and
right.
that, yeah, what? In some ways, we can all be part of that. I know I can.
Let's see. Basil says, check out Halo, the games themselves. There's
Funny
excellent.
story. Oh yeah. I don't not going to watch a TV show. Funny story. Well, of course, the missus and I were both, this is our second time around, and we think we got it right for once. But her first likes playing games and such, and he was playing Halo and having a hard time. Uh, the long suffering sat down, went through the whole game like a breeze, and he wouldn't play the game again.
I
I love this
have
story.
seen that couples. One is better than the other, and they stop playing games.
Yep, exactly. It's like they feel. I mean, it's kind of the same way with me, except it didn't discourage me. But we were there's a game called Space Marine that's based in the Warhammer 40K universe, and you're going around shooting the bad guys, and she's actually getting further along in the game than I was, and it's like, oh, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take notes, and okay, now I know what to do. And she loved it because the orcs were going, shoot me again, Space Marine, shoot me again.
I don't know if this is just a question or a comment from John Rendell. When did the Norsemen take to the sea for the longest voyages?
Almost immediately. They had something that most of the other people didn't have. It was a keel. So where most of the people were coastal runners, and you didn't want to go out that far. because of the ships breaking up and all that. With that keel, they were able to sail along the waters. They were able to go into the river systems and such and explore. They were not afraid of falling off the edge of the world because they did believe the world was round.
Mhm.
The big fallacy that everyone thought the world was flat. That was
Mhm.
that's not the case. It's just a fun thing. Bad history on that one. But considering that they're sailing out to Iceland, and they went to Iceland, there was a bunch of monks there. The monks, okay, there goes the neighborhood. Went back to Ireland. They're Irish monks, and then Iceland became the oldest republic we have today. So yeah, I mean, you had that, and even probably a little bit before that with the proto Vikings like the Vendels and such. So yeah, they were not afraid. I mean, they were people of the sea, and they were forced to because of anyone who sees Norway, you have just a little bit of land and then the mountains.
Mhm.
So it's like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, it's time for us to explore around. We're running out of space. So hey, this little part of England is nice. We'll call it the Danelaw.
Casey Osowski says, "Hello, all. Sorry to be late, and greetings, my Baron." Hello, Casey.
Hey, hey, Casey, how you doing? Great guy.
How you doing? All right, let's see. Were the Viking funerals as shown in the movies with the burning boats, etc.?
See, when I going into with the history and all that, one of the big things about the Viking funeral came from accounts of Ibn Fadlan, who was an Arab that had to run out of the Arab world because he kind of got in the Caliph's bad list. And one of the recounts that he had was this Viking chieftain being put in the ship, and then, uh, of course, the sacrifice of the maiden to go along with him, and they burn the ship. But the thing is everyone takes a look at Viking religion myopically. They think, oh, that's all it is. They're all, this is all they did. Well, you had different gods. The most popular god was Thor. He was a god. He was a somewhat fertility god, but of course Frey was much more of that, and he was kind of the people's god. So. That was a warrior's death that you had. So if you're like a warrior, either you were burned at sea or burned in the boat, or such. People were buried in their ships. That's where we got the Oostburg and many of the others that they found. They have the Viking Skip Museum in Norway, and a few others where they dug up the ships and they were burial. So they were all buried in there, and so it all depends. I mean, what your tasks were. Pretty much, Odin was the warrior god. You prayed to him, especially before you were going to battle. Thor was your protector because he was fighting the giants and the trolls and kept everybody safe. If you're a farmer, you go with Frey, and of course you want to be buried because you were with the earth. Sometimes you'd see grave markers where they have the stones that have the shape of the boat. So it all varied on how people want, just like we have today. Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? And what do you want to do with your ashes after you're cremated? You want those buried, or you want them tossed out? You want tossed over the land, into the sea? Um, it all varied because of the wide variety that you had with it. And of course, when Christianity was going in there, they didn't want to go with the pagan ways. So,
Mhm.
it was the standard burial.
Oh,
So, I mean, you could have a whole huge thing on the Viking religion and the mythologies when it comes with that.
yeah. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the 13 Warrior movie?
Oh, ho, ho, ho. 13 Warriors, based off the book by Michael Crichton called The Eaters of the Dead, which is one of the great hoax books out there. Michael Crichton, in the first part of that, was actually taken from the accounts of Ibn Fadlan, and then he went to full Beowulf after that. I have a love-hate relationship with it. It is fun. The Viking prayer that you hear him say was not appropriate. That's what you were seeing at the funeral. That's what the maiden is saying at the funeral before she is sacrificed to go with the king or the chieftain. But of course, they're having that, before they win the battle. He had people wearing armor that was in the wrong era. I mean, they had the
Mm.
Spanish, they had like Spanish armor. You could even probably see the bullet because the when they to test to show that the armor is good, they shoot a bullet and there'd be a dent in some of the in the armor to show how good the armor is for the Spaniards. So I mean, it was a mishmash of that one.
Mm.
We had high hopes that this would be a good authentic one because Michael Crichton was involved, but I mean, it's a good fantasy movie, but I wouldn't stick to that as a good historical or how they looked at the movie on that one.
Okay.
Plus, you have Antonio Banderas. I think he's Mexican or whatever. He's playing an Arab. You know,
Actually, he's Spaniard.
Spaniard. He is Spanish. Okay, yeah, I know. I know he is. So here he is. He's playing an Arab.
Well, he could be a Moor.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. Legatus asks, have you read all your books? 175% less?
The big question: have you read all of them? The answer is no. You're going to get to them though.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
I mean, it's like I don't know. I don't know. I can't see exactly how much of the books I've read in there. I mean, I read quite a bit. I've been going through a reading phase again, so I'm burning through some books again.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading some old magazine articles, old gaming magazines, which in some ways are almost like a book,
Mm-hmm.
but it can all vary. I don't know how many I've actually read, what the percentage is, but it's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. Some twice,
Yeah.
some 3 times.
Deej Odyssey. Question. Well, not really, but sorta. Baron, give us your best joke to get you sent to the kitty table.
Singing "Faith of Your Heart" to Captain Phantom Nerd. No, that's a little bit of a joke with there, but I don't know what did I do to get myself to the kitty table.
I don't know.
I do so much I can't remember it all.
Well, okay, so you don't have a joke in mind.
I honestly don't. Sometimes that
Okay,
stuff
tough.
just
You're gonna
burns
be.
into.
You're gonna be.
No, when you do so many shenanigans out there, you don't know what's the one that got you on there or not.
Well, there he is.
Yep.
There he is.
Me.
The infamous 4.
Yep. We usually say something that gets us put there. That's for sure.
Yep.
The shenanigans. Sometimes I think it's just the shenanigans. It's just not necessarily even a joke.
That's true. Let's see. Snort asks, speaking of those hoary old movies pre-1990 about the Nords, what do you think was the best or at least the least silly?
The Vikings with Kirk Douglas and Tony Curtis was a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
Really. I mean, they really tried with that one. It was.
I remember seeing that one.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen it since.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good film. It really is.
I think it's put in some vault or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if anybody gets a chance to see that movie, go ahead and watch that. It's like, I mean, and Ernest Borgnine plays the father, so I mean, you got yourself a great cast in that film. You really do.
One I remember was it. It was a Yul Brynner movie. Taras Bulba, I think it was. That one. They were Cossacks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were Cossacks. And I love that movie, and I haven't been able to find it since.
Oh.
See, that's what happens when they end up in the vault. You never see them again.
Right,
and
exactly.
Yul Brynner was.
Oh, he's a great actor. He was a great actor.
Oh, yes, he was. Gone way too soon.
Yeah, most definitely.
I still think.
And I think a lot of these people, that's just kind of a thing, when we're going through this, is we've seen all our heroes getting older, older, grayer, and it's like you see Tom Selleck now. He still looks good, but he doesn't look anything like Magnum no more. And Shatner, 91, still going at it, but it doesn't look. It's like we're seeing our heroes going, and of course they're gone, and that's kind of the hard thing. It's like we're losing our heroes, and we're not necessarily getting anybody to replace that.
Exactly. Exactly. Legata says after 70 years of being known as Prince Charles, using another name other than Charles would have confused too many people. That's true.
Yeah, and that's why he did stick with that. He
Mhm.
did say that that maybe if was he was younger, maybe it would have been changed,
Yeah.
but yeah, he had to go there, and watching Sky News because we got that on the TV.
Mhm.
Some of the announcers still slip up and go Prince Charles. I mean King Charles. And it's going to be
Mhm.
hard
Yeah.
for a
It's
lot
going to
of
take some
people.
time.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I think
Let's
it's
see.
still, I think it's still a shock to people.
Yeah.
You know?
I think a lot of people are. Basil says, my problem is what they did to Cortana. The rest was fine by me.
Oh,
I understand why others hated the idea of the Spartan twos and Locke versus the Chief.
oh, you're talking about the Halo TV show, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things too is they showed Master Chief's face. It's one of those things where you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger,
Mm-hmm.
and they made that mistake in the '90s with Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone. They took the
Yeah.
helmet off.
Yeah.
I tell people if you want to see a good Judge Dredd film, watch it up to where he takes his helmet off, and you
Mm-hmm.
got yourself a good Judge Dredd film.
Mm-hmm.
Which of course for the 2012 Dredd film, they didn't. He kept the helmet on through the whole thing.
Okay.
And the same thing with Master Chief. You don't see their face. You don't take the helmet off of Boba Fett, but now we do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
there's that mystery. There's that mystique
Mm-hmm.
about not seeing who those people are. And when you start breaking that, uh, you've lost something with the character, and I can see
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, I can
For
see
sure.
why people were so upset with Halo with that, and of course back in the '90s with Judge Dredd.
Yeah. Let's see. Sandra says, history isn't meant to be comfortable. It's meant to tell the truth and teach a lesson. So
Yeah,
true, Sandra. So true.
yeah. I mean, there's moments of history reading you can sit back and go, "Hey, yeah, wow, great." And there's other moments going, "Okay, make sure we don't do this again."
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And as it goes, history repeats itself because people don't want to know what history is, and they start telling BS like only the victors win. Well, if that's the case, if only the victors write the histories, then why is there so much bad press against the Vikings?
Mm-hmm.
you know,
True. That's true. That's true. Snort says the USA will be taken over by the Ursine hegemony. Mhm.
I'm ready for it. Bring it on. Bring it on.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do it.
yeah. Just don't eat
Uh,
ferrets and sea otters. Everything else is
yes,
key.
and dolphins.
And
And
dolphins. Oh,
dolphins. No, I mean,
don't.
I saw one of a polar bear eating a dolphin. I'm like, no,
Really?
not.
Oh, he was a hungry
Um,
bear.
unfortunately, too much is written by the winner's perspective and not much in a unbiased, neutral narrative. So true, so true. I
But you do have
just,
a lot out there. I mean, there
I
is a
just
lot
read,
out there.
I just read one, a book that I think if you want one, a good history book that will piss you off, get a book called, get the book titled Stalin's War.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Oh, oh my God! I was ready to.
Mm.
Oh, I was pissed after I read that.
He was not a nice guy.
He was a yeah. This even shows how much of a manipulative SOB he was.
Hmm. He was.
I
He had almost a Svengali hold on the people
yeah.
in his own way.
Yeah. And Pudgy's here, floating by in his little balloon. He's checking out your roof.
Ah, great.
Checking out.
And that's why I've been being very good, so Pudgy doesn't have to use that sensor blanket.
Yep. Hello, Pudgy.
I mean, it comes around to it. People who are real historians, they'll sit down and they'll take. It can sometimes take years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like translation work.
Oh,
People
yeah.
bugger off on translation, but it's like when you have hand translating the Torah in many of the
Yeah.
Jewish circles, you have the counters. They go out there and they count, and if it does not match up on there, it's gone, and they do it from the beginning again.
Mhm.
When they did the translation of the King James Bible, it took like 9 years. They had four college, four groups doing each section on there off of the original languages, and sometimes they had arguments on that, on a meaning of what this word is, because how do you translate a Greek word or a Hebrew word into our language that doesn't have a full connotation to it? It's like how,
Mhm.
and
Exactly.
it's serious work when people do that,
Yep.
and to have these people poo poo and historians poo poo that sit down and work real hard on trying to get the history out there is disgusting. And when you hear someone saying that I went out there and did this with my full intent to discredit this person, it's like, I don't like you. Get out of there. You should not be in the industry. You should not be part of this because you are the problem. So uh, it's hard work. It's very hard work. People think people
Mhm.
just go in there and just a laissez faire, and some people do. And you can tell that work.
Mhm.
But when they go in there and actually start seeing people doing some of this work, it is painstaking, painstaking.
I just, man, my StreamYard just went right from where we were at, and then
Oh,
goes goes to the end. Let me see.
Streamliner, you naughty, naughty, naughty.
Yes. Oh, come on, man. It just went bananas.
Mm. Mine is going okay. Good, good. Yeah, so I'm happy for once.
Yeah.
Sometimes mine acts up, and it's like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I had that kind of
Mm.
happen to me the other day when I was on Pulp Culture Minefield. Actually, it was after the show.
Okay.
That's kind of one of the fun. One of the things is, when you're doing these shows, sometimes the after shows go just as long, if not longer. And I tell you, if you had the camera on, the microphone on, it'd be even more entertaining. But the thing is
Hmm.
we talk about stuff we don't want out there.
Yeah.
you know? But I tell you, I mean, it's sometimes joy to what the post shows
Yeah.
that sometimes happen because it's crazy fun. Crazy fun.
Snort says, I guess Captain Cisco wasn't black enough for him. Oh, don't you diss my Cisco. Don't you diss
Oh,
Avery. Don't you diss Avery Brooks. He'll go all hawk on you.
a second favorite captain. Second favorite captain in Star Trek is him.
Yeah. And I loved the Hawk. I've watched Spencer for Hire. I've watched A Man
Hmm.
Called Hawk, and when I heard he was becoming Cisco, I said, "Yeah, he's
Yeah,
gonna kick some butt."
and
Yeah.
again, that was a character that was ethnically neutral.
Hmm.
One of the people they were thinking about having play the part of Cisco,
Hmm.
they were going to have William Campbell, the Squire Gothos and
Huh.
Koloth. Yeah, he was on the list to do the role.
Hmm.
That would have been interesting,
Yeah.
but I think it went
Well,
to the right person.
oh, it did. Uh, the goddess says, with people no longer having a personal library, sell the book they read, or going into ebooks, is collecting physical books a dying medium?
I think it's in no.
Look,
You
people are
have
still going to want books.
Mhm. It's just, what books are they going to get? Where are they going to get it? I mean, used bookstores, things like half price books and other things are still incredibly popular. You go to the places and they're still packed and people are buying.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
what books are they getting? Are they getting the new books? Are they getting older books? And I think there is when it comes around the newer books, really honestly, there's nothing that really, even in science fiction fantasy, there's nothing that grabs me to want to read newer science fiction. I always been gravitating to the older stuff, and uh, as that goes, I think when it comes around to like the used and other stuff, it's not going to go away. If that's the case, then half price books wouldn't be so huge as it is, and all the other ones. I mean, Uncle Hugo's, which just reopened here in the
Hmm.
Twin Cities after it was burned down. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, let's
But
stay away from that.
yeah, exactly. But they got it open. Is a very popular shop.
Hmm.
So um, it might be hurting the new stuff. People wanting to have the new stuff, which is okay, fine. But the old stuff, again, many of these books are not in ebook form. Many of these books will probably never be in ebook form unless Gutenberg Press gets it when the copyrights expire.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's going to die. They want it to die, but it won't die.
Yeah. I mean, I put some in my iPad via Kindle, and I
Hmm.
still have hard copy books. I'm reading a pretty good book. God, what did I just? Just in the past couple weeks, I've gotten 3 books.
Hmm.
Let's see. Yes, the guy that says, as one book collector to another, I'm always interested in how many others have. Yeah. Let's
I'm sure
see.
I got a couple thousand books.
Mhm. I'm not that. I'm not that close, but mainly because of some. Let's see. Pudgy's doing some shenanigans out there.
Pudgy, you
Pudgy.
silly little hedgehog.
Ooh, he gets an eclair. Uh
Ooh, there we go.
oh. Oh no. Oh no.
I won't tell Kobold.
Mhm. Real trains
Yeah.
include several manuals for operation and maintenance for EMD and Alco diesel engines.
Mm, there we go.
Okay.
Don't have manuals. I don't have manuals.
Lagata says, I live in the Great White North. I've seen blizzards in every month of the year.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, Minnesota, we've had recordable snowfall in every month except August.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, what is it? Or my ex in Duluth said there's 3 seasons: winter, fall, and 4th of July in Duluth.
Yeah, yeah, winter, fall, yeah, or winter and road construction.
Uh-huh. Carly asks, has Baron seen Tim's Video Channel 1, a great YouTube channel showing trains driving all over the world?
No, I haven't. I'm gonna have to look at that. Tim's Video Channel 1. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. I
Legatus,
have a couple other ones.
Legatus, buddy, can you get us the link?
That'd be
Let's,
great.
yeah, yeah. Sandra says we're right on the middle edge of the airspace, less than a mile from the highway. Yeah. Okay.
You know what's nice about Tag Manor is you'd think we'd have a lot more commotion, but we're actually in a spot of the town that a lot of people don't know exists. It's just like this little island. I
Mhm.
mean, we got major highway literally a couple blocks that way. We hardly hear the traffic. I actually hear the trains in the other town more than I hear the traffic. We have kind of a major road just over there, and again, don't hear much. I go out in the backyard, and it's like you can have the Autobahn Society back there because there's so many different type of birds. I never knew
Mm,
that was in Minnesota. I went out there one time and all of a sudden I had this hummingbird in my face. It's like, oh hi, how you doing? He went away.
I think we've had one here too. Uh,
Now it makes me want to put a feeder out next year.
do you still? Legatus asks, do you still feel like this was an ambush interview?
Very much so.
You asked to come. You said.
Yeah. Oh, you got to have fun with it. Got to have
Oh
fun
yeah,
with
we gotta have fun.
it.
Man, let's see, we got about 15 minutes left before
Okay.
we got. Let's see.
Well, what do you want to know? Is there any questions that you had to want to ask? I mean, I'm all game for stuff.
Oh man, I, I've had a great time. I've had an absolutely great time. This has been a great, fascinating talk. Uh, seems like to me we kind of think alike at times. Just and that may be a scary thing. That may be a good thing. It's
I'd be scared if I were you. you know,
let's see. I'm looking for more.
yeah. Well, when you're used to lecturing and talking, because I did a lot of lecturing, it's like, okay, you're going to go out there, you get something thrown at you, you better talk,
Mm-hmm.
and more importantly, you better know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
With that, I mean, it goes with the many subjects. It's like, what do people want to talk about? Do they want to talk about Roman history? I studied the early Roman emperors from Augustus up to Nero, and
Mhm.
that because I Claudius. I mean, if anybody has not seen the BBC miniseries from the '70s, I Claudius, I pity you. Find it, watch it. I mean, what a great cast: Brian Blessed, John Hurt, George Baker, Sean Phillips. I mean, the list goes on. Patrick Stewart was even in it. Uh, a great story that was based off the 12 Caesars that Robert Graves did the book. And again, the book itself, I Claudius by Robert Graves and Claudius the God. Two both excellent books to read. Yeah, they're dry, but they're still good stories. And,
Mhm.
when I start telling people some of the books I read just for fun, they look at me and go, "You weren't going to a class for that?" It's like, no, I like reading the books. Yeah.
Ooh,
Reading the 12 Caesars and the Suetonius and oh,
ooh. Pudgy says Tom Selleck bad. He wants to take Pudgy home.
hmm.
Home. No reverse mortgage for Tom Selleck. You go away.
Oh yeah, he did those reverse
Reverse
mortgages
mortgage. Yeah.
commercials.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, here's one that you don't see a lot on in pop culture. What do you think of
Hmm?
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea?
It was fun in the beginning, then it got carried away. Just like a
The
lot of shows.
monster, yeah, the monster of the
Yeah, the
week.
monster of the week.
Yeah,
And
I liked it when they did the Cold War stuff and kept it close
hmm
to home. And I love
exactly.
the flying sub. The flying
Oh
sub.
yeah,
That was, of course, I
I
love
knew
the
some.
Sea View too. I love the Sea View.
Going gain some changes from the movie over there, but yeah, it was. Again, like the early stuff was good, and
Hmm.
just like Lost in Space, the early stuff, and even the on-aired pilot, that was some really hard science fiction on
Hmm.
that black and white. And it's like too
Yeah,
bad that show it didn't stay that way instead of going to that campy, uh,
monster of the
cr-
week,
yeah, and
or
carrots, the Great Vegetable Revolution.
yeah, or every other every other thing was Dr. Smith and
hmm Oh, the pain, the
the
pain.
pain, the pain. Yes.
Warning, Will Robinson. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it kind of just centered around those three and the craziest around there. And
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and Legatus is right about season 2 of Space 1999. There was Monster Week there too on that one.
Yeah. I liked Space 1999, the first season. The
hmm
second season, I kind of
I, th- I think a
I'm
lot.
sorry, I missed. I was so into UFO that
Mhm.
I couldn't. I didn't like that they remade it into Space 1999.
Right, yeah, they basically took, what we're going to do for the next season for UFO, we'll do Space 1999. Basically, that's what happened
Yeah,
with Jerry Anderson. And it's like, yeah,
which was
UFO was a great show. I mean,
it
really great
was
show.
it was a
hmm
fantastic show um, with great characters. I love Straker.
Yeah, exactly. And and when it comes around Space 99, one of the big mistakes was getting rid of Barry Morse as a doctor on there.
Hmm.
You need to have that anchored character, but no, let's
Hmm.
get rid of him.
Well, do you know that Colonel Lake, the female colonel in UFO, I just found this
Mhm.
out, is Benedict Cumberbatch's mother.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yep, yep, she's Benedict Cumberbatch's mother.
Huh.
And yeah, so but that was just an awesome show, and the ships. Uh,
hmm
love those interceptors. I had an interceptor.
Yeah,
Yes,
they were. What was it?
John.
Corgi? Was it Corgi? I can't.
Yeah, Corgi.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were surprised Eagle. Well, Eagle Moss is bankrupt. Wonder
Oh, they
why.
are.
Yeah, I think they
Oh,
were
I did.
going bankrupt. Yeah.
Oh, I
UFO,
didn't know.
purple hair and chrome mini skirts.
hmm
Oh yeah, nothing better. Couldn't get
Of
that now. Ugh,
then
couldn't
the
get that
Gators
now.
had. Then the Gators had to put the really nasty question in there. I see.
Have you
hmm
ever watched impersonated the? Is this the one? Have you
Yep.
ever
hmm
watched impersonated the computer from the Star Lost? I remember that show.
That was horrible. I tried watching it. It was bad. Ben Bova and Harlan Ellison had the concept for the show,
Hmm.
and it was a great concept they had. but it was filmed in Canada. It was basically a Canadian show, and I think Walter Koenig also guest starred on one of the episodes, where you had each one of the habitats was like a different culture type of thing, and they had to back the ship up because the ship was going in oblivion, and and I remember Harlan was saying that the executive was saying stupid things, and they ruined the show from what the concept was. When you have Ben Bova and Harlan Ellison coming up with something, run with what they had. Plus, it's just a small budget. Kira Duella, coming off of 2001.
Yeah. Sandra saw it as a kid, thought it was a great basic idea.
Yeah,
I remember seeing it and just.
Yeah, when they had it on Sci-Fi Channel, I tried watching it, and I heard how bad it was, but still like I'm going to see it for myself. It's like, yeah, this is bad. I couldn't get through the show. I couldn't. I tried. I did try.
Well, Baron, I am glad to finally get you on one-on-one, mano-a-mano, and this was great.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself.
And I got to ask you, what you got? I know you've got the 2 books.
Your 2 books, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you read them yet? Probably not.
I got the first one done. I'm reading the second one right now, and
hope you got a review out there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to sit down and do just like trying to figure out how to do it right, especially without spoiling stuff in it, because how you did it. I mean, I like how you did like Hebrew storytelling, where it's not a linear, but it's a circle. You come back around, and then you get something more out of it, and you learn something more. And then it comes back around, and you get more of it. And it's like, oh, I love how that storytelling was being done for that first book.
Which is why I really try not to give spoilers, because because of the twists.
Exactly. So, I mean, people don't be put off by that. You're going to be, but every time you go back, you're going to learn something new. And I'm going to sit back and say that, no spoiler there, except that, it builds.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Shameless. Shameless plug.
Yep. There we go. We got to have the shameless plug for you.
On
dolphinwars.com. Do we have time for that last question by the game?
Yes. We'll do this last question, and then we got to, yes.
Here we go.
Yes, Pudgy, it's time for show notes, but we won't do the song.
Oh, show notes? Okay.
No, show notes. We'll do the question, and then we'll wrap it up. But no song. That's for Saturdays, Pudgy.
That's Saturday.
This is professional. This is a professional interview.
I'm hearing this professional. That's scary.
Talking about cheesy sci-fi, what is your opinion on the Lex? I divided with original Zex, replacement Zev. Okay.
The show, the 4 movies in the first season are brilliant surrealistic science fantasy. Brilliant surrealistic. When I got fooled into watching the first Lex movie. And it's like I'm watching. It's like, wow, this is good. Then I found out it's Lex. It's like, okay, now I got to really follow through. The last 2 seasons were, So if anybody's going to watch that, it's proper cheese, proper silliness, proper surrealism. I love the first 2 seasons. Last 2 seasons, that's my opinion about Lex. And I like and Zev Bellerin. Oh my, both of those ladies, beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay. No, we're not doing the song. No, we're not. This is an interview. This is done differently. Okay, so let us go to show notes. The professional show notes version. As always, there'll be a Just Cuz this weekend. No theme. We're just going to have mayhem. We'll have show notes. We'll have hopefully the Chandelier of Infinite Wisdom. We'll have our usual panel. We'll have our usual fun. We'll have Pudgy singing songs. Yes. Okay, a week from today, we're going to have an artist, Christina Hoffman, come on. I met her at the local Comic Con, and she offered to come on. She's going to show us some of her work.
Right.
On the 28th, we're going to have Yawata, another artist I met at the Comic Con. I met a lot of people at this Comic Con. On October 5th, and I'm going to massacre his name. I got to figure out the pronunciation. His name is C.J. Zacharl. He did. He's an illustrator. He did the drawings. If you've read, if you've been on the show where I've had Grace Ailey Kay on, he did the illustrations for her books, and he offered to come on. And then on the 12th, I will interview Anti-Derivative Jill and talk to her about about her channel. And then everybody, put on your calendar, write it on your sundial, engrave it in stone. October 29th will be the King Dolphin TV big birthday anniversary bash. Lots of mayhem, lots of galore, lots of good stuff coming on. And I am looking forward to that. 1 year. 1 year in existence. There. No, Legatus. I have Fett doing. I have Fett. The cover for 3 is already done by Fett for Hire.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's an awesome cover. So.
Yeah, you kind of showed it off at the Comic Con thing. That cover. Yeah, looks great. Fred does great work.
Yes,
and he really does. I love picking on the guy, but he's my brother, man, and I love that. I don't know.
Yes,
I'm trying to figure out how I worm my way in with everybody, but it just seems so natural. You can't really put your finger exactly what it is. It's like, it's like, hey, we're all around, and it's just wonderful. This is family, and I love it. We are all family here.
Yeah, I'm glad this community is. We're small little pod, but we're feisty.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the kitty table, we've got the pod, we got the hedgehogs, we got the chandelier of infinite knowledge. Lots of stuff coming up. I'm planning some really big interviews coming up after the new year. I am not saying what it is. I don't want to jinx it. So that's, but I hope that it'll come off. So, Baron, it's been a pleasure. I am so glad you're a member of the King Dolphin TV panel. I am so glad that we finally got the chance to talk about it and have some fun tonight.
Well, I'm very thankful for you having me on here. I'm very humbled, believe it or not, because having the one-on-one thing that's a special thing. I mean, of course, a little bit different than when I'm on King Dolphin, the pod. But yeah, thanks for having it. It's a great fun. And, whenever you have any more hard-hitting questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Oh, I'd be happy to hard hit. Wrong one. Okay, hold on. Okay, the bot decided to. I know you're in there. Okay, while the bot is waking up to do the to put. There it is. Thank you. I was ready to sick Snorter Poopus and Pudgy on the bot. Get it going. So please subscribe to Baron Orman Tagge's channel. He does good stuff. And as you can see, he's a very well-learned and intelligent guy and a lot of fun. Okay. So all right. And then we will start welcoming the wonderful chat that was on. We actually had, oh my goodness, we had a lot of people tonight.
They were talking too, I tell you.
Yeah, they were talking. All right. The wrenches. We had Legatus Legion I, we had Linrod, we had John Rindle, and of course, who can ever forget? Where is he? Laura Pupes! Super.com. Snora Pupes, thanks for coming, buddy. Thanks for being the wrench. Scaring off those bots by going rawr. And our Queen Dolphin, lead wrench, my better half, and wonderful lady, Sandra. Thank you, babe. Love you. And then, of course, the rest of the chat we had, Pudgy. And the original hot mama, Sandra. We've got a flirting hedgehog here. I'm going to have a talk with him on Saturday.
Settle down, Pudgy. Settle down.
Well, we're going to do 50 Shades of Pudgy. Okay, so tonight we had on the chat, we had Pudgy Hedgehog. We had Carla Burton. Thanks for coming all the way from New Zealand. Glad you can come. We had the old man. Thank you for coming. We had Matt G. We had Deej Odyssey. Andy Masterson stopped by. We had Pierre Kelly here. We had Lord Thoth. We had Basil, the Pumpin' Seagull. We had Casey Osowski. We had Pacific 414. We had the long-suffering Mrs. Tagge. We had low-spec Linux laptop. We had Brandon, the anime guy. Please subscribe to Brandon, the anime guy. I got to get you on. DM me, or if Legatus or Sandra could get my email address. Well, yeah, wait, hold on. That's why I pay the bot.
Well, if it's not in there, I can also get a hold of him and get you hooked up.
Okay. Yeah, Brandon, I want you to come on and let's talk. There's not that one. Yeah, let's come on. I want to talk to you, Brandon. So come on in and let's chat. Reach out to me. Never mind. Wrenches, you know what I'm looking for. And hello, Cams. Hello, Cams. Thank you for coming, and hope you've enjoyed the chat. Cam's Crash Courses. Thank you for being here. And that is everybody. Oh, we had JPR PH1 as well. We had a bunch of people here tonight.
Yeah. And hopping and crazy, I tell you.
Yeah, hopping and crazing and lots of good stuff out there. We are going to have Just Cause this coming Saturday. I really like Hawaiian Shirt Day. That one and Cowboy Shirt Day. We got to do more. We got to do more theme type things like that.
And Brandon is very open. Just send him a DM. So.
Okay. All right. I think I have his DM. But yeah. there for all things Dolphin Wars, there's my link tree. You can go to the website. You can go to the Amazon link. You can go get access to King Dolphin TV in color.com. Oh, Sandra's got a good idea. A pet day. Hold on to that. Pirate Day? Oh, wow. We're getting ideas. Great. We're getting good ideas for coming up with stuff. All right, Baron. Thank you very much for coming. Stick around afterwards. We'll.
Oh, sure. More than happy to.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Chat, thank you very much for being here. I do this because of you guys. You guys are the best. I am so glad you're here, and that makes this pod go really well. We're a family here, and totally. Okay, so I will see you Saturday. You all be safe. You all be well. And let's continue to make waves. And take care, guys.